Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ninja Selling Podcast. He's Garrett, I'm Matt, and we are doing a short intro today. Got a short episode for you, very meaty, talking about getting people information. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we dive into that real quick, check out our Facebook group. Go on Facebook, search for the Ninja Selling Podcast. It's a wonderful place to be. And if you want to learn more about ninja selling, where we have installations, information about coaching, information about mastery, which is an incredible program that you can be involved in after you take an installation, head over to ninjaselling.com and all your answers will be there right in front of you. You can also click a button at the top right that says Find a Ninja. If you're looking for a ninja somewhere in the world, click the Find a Ninja button. And if there is a ninja there where you're searching, they should show up. I mean, that's the way search thing works, I guess, Garrett. Good morning to you.
That's the way the system works. If there's one there, they'll show up.
They'll show up. And if there's not, they won't.
Brilliant, Matt. Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, my pleasure. Not as polished as ones in prior episodes, but
it was perfect. It made all mine look great.
It shows the raw element of how we do this podcast.
Yeah. Well, so jumping right in, this came out of a topic of one of your clients, and I think we should jump right in with what your client is doing here with this. That then made us have a deeper conversation of like, why do we make this so difficult? So Matt, have at it, man.
Yeah. So this is Kevin McCarthy in the greater Austin area. He's a great agent, and he came up with this idea. I mean, people do put QR codes on signs. We've seen that before in sign writers, but he said, I'm just going to make my entire sign a QR code for these listings. I was like, this is brilliant. And most people are like, oh, that's not going to look nice. Like, I was like, I don't care how it looks. And he showed it to me yesterday, and it does look nice. It looks nice. The broker's name, All City Real Estate's at the bottom with a phone number. And then I think he puts a sign writer on top with his name on it. But it's a massive QR code so that if you're a passenger in a car driving down the street, or you're walking down the street, or you pull over, it would be so easy to just grab that QR code, which goes to a custom site for that listing that he's built out that has all of the information that anybody who's interested in that home might have. And it was funny because he's been working on this for a while, and it's fantastic. I think it's wonderful. As I was driving around this past weekend, looking at all these signs that are there, I'm like there's a for sale sign in front of that house. And sometimes I don't even know what street I'm on. There's no house number, or it's down a driveway. I can't see back that far. And I just see a for sale sign with a phone number. And it's like, well, I don't really feel like talking to anybody right now. I'm just curious, like, what's behind those trees? What's down that driveway? What's inside that house? And then I get home and forget about it because I'm not going to go look it up. But if I had a QR code, snap, make it easy.
Here's the thing. Like, I've watched real estate agents do this for years, where we're like the true gatekeepers of information. They have to go through us to get information. I'm going to put a postcard out, but the whole point of the postcard is we're going to leave some of the information out because we want the phone call. We're going to put our sign in the front yard, and the reason we're going to put that sign there, and we're going to do this a certain way. Would you put a flyer box on? Again, I'm dating myself here a little bit, but would you put a flyer?
Flyer boxes are great. In walkable neighborhoods, I still think that's relevant, by the way.
But still, at the end of the day, I love it when I pull a flyer out and it's just so little information, because again, don't give it all, because then we're going to miss our phone call and we want those sign calls. I get it. Sign calls are valuable. I get people that pick up the phone and actually will go through the gauntlet of talking to a real estate agent. I mean, I'm general consumer out here. I don't have a real estate license anymore. To pick up the phone and call the number off one of those signs, absolutely not. Because what happens is then you get on somebody's list. And then I get a phone call back in about 3 weeks. Are you still interested in the property? I wasn't interested to begin with. I just had some questions about it. And then all of a sudden, a month after that, I get another phone call. Are you still in the real estate market right now? And I'm like, oh my gosh, go away. Like, there's a certain point that we start to learn, we're programmed in, do not call the number on that sign unless you desperately need information on that house. because we don't want to have to go through the gauntlet of having to handle all of this. So
not only that, Garrett, like raise your hand, realtors, if you love getting random calls at random times from people you don't know.
So a QR code on the sign, and I know there's people listening, they're like, well, I do have it on the sign. And I get it. I think it's brilliant. If you put it on there, I think we're all very well trained right now that a QR code means that's a place I can find information. I think it's very valuable. The entire sign. I loved your comment, Matt, of like, but maybe it doesn't look nice. Like, your sign is not the thing that's supposed to build curb appeal, like at all.
Yeah.
It's not like the house is a dump, but then my sign was put in the front yard and
all of a sudden
it looks pretty good now.
It's just like, it's amazing. I love the strategy that Kevin is using, but it brought this topic of how do we make information easy for people to access? Because that's what it really comes down to. Whether your entire sign is a QR code, you have a flyer box with QR codes in there, or you just have a sign writer with a QR code, or even an easy to remember website address that if you could take a picture of it, you can go back and plug it in. I think the QR code's a little better, but something that makes it easy to capture information about a listing. But this also extends into, is it easy for people to find information about what it's like to work with you, whether they're buying or selling a house? And it gets into that mindset, Garrett. Well, we want to protect the information so people come to us. Like our websites, our auto flow, our marketing materials that people pick up at open houses, or maybe for our promotional campaigns that we run outside of our auto flow, should have information that makes it easy for people to understand what services do you provide, what's it like working with you, or if it's a listing, what is this house all about? Because it, like with Kevin's, you click on one of these QR codes, man, it gives you get everything. You get the photos, the floor plan, all, of course, the price. If there's video, you get video, and it's all on his website. So which can also then go to his blog, which has a lot of other great videos and stuff on there. And that's a whole nother conversation. But let's not be these gatekeepers that are preventing the consumer from getting information that they're looking for, because otherwise they're just either not going to look for it on your site, or they're just not going to look for it at all. And they'll go to Zillow and they'll end up talking to some other agent, but it's not going to be you, right? And here's the other benefit too, Garrett. If you're in an area where there's a few houses for sale and your sign makes it easy for you to get information, well, when they might then reach out to you and say, hey, Garrett, I was looking at the information on this listing that you have listed here. Could you tell me about the other couple of listings that are on that street as well? Because I couldn't find anything on them. Sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you provide the information, people will seek you out because they know you have the information.
Yes. And they want it easily. They don't want to have to go through all the hoops and jump through all the, just to get a simple bit of information. So if you're making information that easy up front, they will look to you for more information. 100%, Matt. The interesting thing also, and I don't want to open up a rabbit hole down a different direction here because we easily could, but the beauty of also directing people to a QR code is that it directs people into basically a funnel that you have. Because once they hit that website, you now have information you can show your client to say, look, this is how many people actually hit the website that we created through the sign in the front yard. I can show you exactly how many things. Oh, this is how many people click through to look at the pictures. This is how many people click through to watch the video. This is how many people actually made it all the way through the video. Like, you can show them all the information there. So when they're going, and I'm not making any predictions about the marketplace right now, but I am seeing some markets where properties are sitting a little bit longer, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not just saying give into the marketplace taking longer to sell a house, because that's not the truth. But to have more information to show your clients of this is what we're doing, this is how we're getting your home out there, this is the interaction we're having with the general public about your house. If I was selling somebody's home today, I would want all the data to sit down with them on a weekly basis and say, here's the stats. Here's what we got going on.
It landed him a listing too, Kevin. He took a sign from another property, brought it, had the potential seller scan that QR code and saw listing pop right up on his phone. He's like, wow, this is cool. And this isn't complicated technology either. And even with the way technology is, if you wanted to get people into a mailing list and everything, I visited a website the other day and all of a sudden I was getting emails from them. I was like, man, was that like, maybe I was logged into Chrome or something? Like, how did they get my email? All I did was hit the page for like 5 seconds. So annoying.
So here's my favorite thing when people are like,
but it can happen.
When people are like, well, I don't know how to create those, type in Google QR code generator. You'll be blown away.
It's super easy to create these things now. And the cool thing is you can then take one QR code. And if you're not using that one anymore, you can direct it to another site. All it is basically like a web address, right?
Yeah.
Here's the other interesting thing with this. If you make information easy and you become the source of that information, that's where you can also layer in additional value added offerings. Like, oh, did you enjoy this listing? Here's some other listings that you might enjoy. Or if you're looking for a home, check out our 10-step buyer process that will ensure that you don't miss out on anything or pay too much when you find it. Or thinking of selling your house. Here, click here to understand how our process works to make sure that you maximize your value while reducing stress. Now you have control as well over the information and value that you can present to these folks versus allowing everyone else. Now, does that mean that you're going to beat Zillow and all the other platforms at their game? Maybe not. But for the people who are, when you think about it, somebody who's walking by a sign or is finding wherever you're dropping this information in front of them, they're interested in learning that there. They're not searching the broad stuff. And that's somebody who you want to have looking at your stuff. So make it easy for them to find, make it easy for them to access.
So I have an interesting thought about this, Matt. So we've talked, I believe, in the past. Do we ever talk about the nude model? I think we did.
Oh, yeah. I think more than once.
More than once. Well, if anybody's curious, you can go back and watch the episode on the nude model. Very intriguing. But with the nude model, the N stands for novelty. And I think it's a funny thing because novelty stands for anything special, unique, or different that makes you stand out from the rest. Isn't it crazy? I'm sitting here going like, oh, the QR code is a novelty thing. Making information easy for people to access is something that will set you apart from every realtor out there. This is the weirdest thing that I'm actually sitting here saying is a novel piece that you could provide as a real estate agent is making information easily accessible for people. That shouldn't be novel.
No. It shouldn't.
That shouldn't be something that sets you apart. But guess what? It is something that will set you apart. It is not easy to find information out there. There are great websites and there's great places you can go to, but it takes me time then. As Matt, as you were saying, what was the address that I drove by? Where exactly were we that we saw that house?
Oh, and there was a house that I drove by like every day and I always wondered like, what's going on inside that house? What's going on inside that house? What's going on inside that house? Months. And then I finally decided to look it up on the MLS because I have access to it. But I could have just clicked and been like, oh, that's what's going on inside that house. Cool. Okay, maybe I would have been a buyer for it, but I also didn't hassle some realtor by calling them and then being like, ooh, look, a potential lead, and finding out that, oh, no, it's not. Right.
But if I had a realtor in town that I knew that they were a place I could go to get information from, that had easy access to the stuff that we all care about as consumers, that's what makes you go back to websites. That's what makes you go back to people because it's easy, it's convenient, it works over and over and over again. Look at a lot of the businesses you go to around town. Go look at hardware stores you go to. I've got one hardware store in town. Now I understand this is something that needs to be done in some areas, but every single damn item that's hanging on one of their shelves is locked up. So I got another one that I can go to across town that actually charges a little bit more and everything is not locked up. Guess what? I don't have to go find a sales clerk to unlock every single drill bit that I want to buy. And the other one, I can just go and be like, I want to throw that in my cart and I want to throw that in my cart and we're going to throw this one in there and we're heading out the door. It's like, make it easy on people.
After you pay, of course, you're heading out the door.
Well, that's why the other place is like, all locked out. It's only time till they catch on to me at this other store. Right now, it's great.
Yeah. Garrett's picture is also on the front of the. Well, it's interesting in thinking about this access. A lot of people are like, oh, great, I'll send them to my website and then they can enter their email to receive this handout, which I get all the marketing gurus and funnel people out there that are like, yeah, capture an email and it's great.
Capture data.
And I think for certain things that maybe makes sense, but don't put a wall. Like you definitely don't want somebody hitting your QR code and then being like, oh, now I got to log in. I mean, there's some brokerages out there that do the login stuff to see information. Hard pass for me. I go to their website. I'm like, this is frustrating. Now I'm going to Zillow because I'm not entering my information because I don't want to.
If I was a homeowner who had hired a real estate agent and I sign up with them and this is great, we're going to get our home on the market, and then I go online to see my house and I got
to log in,
enter in my information to see.
Well, and most people won't put a roadblock to that part, but it's like, ooh, if you want to learn even more, right?
But again, it's like, wait. Like, why are you holding people back from getting to the property that I'm hiring you to sell? Make it easy for them. The whole point that I have you here is to generate as many. Now, I know there's people out there saying, but I can sell it because now that I have their information, I can follow up with them. I can try to secure sales and all this kinds of stuff. Yes, there is that element that you can play that game if you want to. For the most part, though, make it easy for people to see it, because guess what? Yeah, you might sell it, but I want somebody else who's working with a different real estate agent to be able to call it, like easily get the information. Also, I want it easy for everybody to see this thing.
Yeah. Well, and this gets into the type of information. Like if you have an information that's emailable, something that's, not really maybe appropriate for a website, cool. Have somebody drop in, like fill out this form and we're going to get this information right over to you. Maybe it's something that gets customized slightly when you do that, right? But if it's general information, put it in a place that's easy to access. And particularly when it comes to your listings, just make it easy. I mean, I don't really have much more to say on it, Garrett, other than I just love this idea of just a nice big QR code in front of a house, scan it, get the information. If you want to get in contact, it's easy to do.
The reason it's good to share, Matt, is it's an extreme example of making the information easy. I would love it if we can get a picture of that sign, because I'd love to be able to post it with this episode, or at least make it available so somebody can see it.
Oh, I'm sure we can. Kevin's a very sharing person, so.
This is just one of those things that it exaggerates the making the information easy and not making it about you. And that's what I love about it. Obviously his company's name's on there. Obviously his name's on there. But I think Matt's funny is that the minute you brought this up to me, when somebody clicks on that QR code, it takes them to a place that they are going to see your big smiling face that you wish was on the sign. They are going to see all your company information and whatnot that you wish was on the sign. They're going to get all that information no matter what. You just make it easily accessible for them now.
Not only that, think about it this way. The best thing about having information easy to access is all the neighbors are going to go scan that. And then they're going to see how you present a listing versus just seeing your sign and being like, should we call Garrett? Like
every dog walker,
I don't know, like
every person that is just cruising through the neighborhood. Oh, should do an experiment. We should
just put a QR code in front of my house.
We should just make a sign, have nothing to do with real estate at all. Just put the sign out there and see how many people actually click on it. I have a real estate sign in my garage. We should do it. We should actually see how many people we can direct to a fictitious website. We can make it about the podcast. See how many people we can generate just specifically to let them know that we have a podcast. Do you imagine the confusion of people out in front of my house going, it would work just the same. It would work just the same as this. About 4 years ago, we had some major construction done on our house, and we had a porta potty put in our front yard. When you make things convenient for people, it's amazing how many people will stop and use the things that are convenient. You make the QR code convenient, people are going to stop and scan it because that's what we do. It's right there. If you really want a fascinating experiment, put a porta potty in your front yard and see how many people stop and use it.
See how many people use it.
There's a convenience factor to all of this. If you make it easy for people, it's a fascinating experiment. So we'll let you play with that one. Go get yourself a porta potty, people. That's what we're going to do. All right.
I don't know if anybody's going to do that, but if you do, I definitely want to know.
Sarah and I, there was a while there, Matt, where we would sit in the front yard in the morning. We'd have our tea and Sarah would have her coffee, and we have a huge Japanese maple we would sit underneath. And while we were sitting there, we don't have a massive front yard. We live on the outside of a corner. It's kind of a small front yard, big backyard. And people would literally walk up and be like, hey, and go into the porta potty. I'm like, That's the weirdest thing ever. It's literally sitting on my grass. Right under the basketball hoop, just like right in. I'm like,
hey, Garrett and Sarah, good to see you.
Literally, they would say hi and then go in.
Time to read the paper.
Postman would stop every single day. Trash man would stop once a week when he would come through. Like,
oh, see, but that's a great service for like the mailman, or because like think about those guys, they're out all day and like they got to go back to home base to. Well, anyway,
make this world convenient. That's what we got to do. Make it easy for people. All right. Matt, great topic. Sorry, we went down a tangent there. I tend to do that every once in a while, but I appreciate everybody who's listening. If you want to know more about ninja selling, go to ninjaselling.com. Classes, events, everything. You can find it all there. If you want to know more about coaching, that's our world. And you can go to the Ninja Selling site. You can type in Ninja Coaching and search that. We have 30 amazing coaches that are here to help you be the best you can be with your ninja business. And if you want to go to our podcast community in Facebook, go to the Ninja Selling Podcast. You will find a whole bunch of like-minded individuals there. You can all share ideas and grow together. And we encourage you to go there as well. Matt, thank you so much, man. Always appreciate my time with you.
Thank you, Garrett. Same here. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Catch you on the next one.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.